Damn, man, the phone keeps falling, so I'm probably just gonna hold it for the rest of the video, but you still got a nice view, so it should be okay. But it's those times where I sit back and I'm in bed and I am on my phone that I am susceptible to these habits and these deadly sins that I mentioned of porn, right? And so I'm trying to overcome that. And mentally, there's been a lot of obstacles that I've been facing of who am I as a man? Am I doing enough with my life? At the age of 25, am I where I want to be? Have I accomplished enough with my time? And again, a lot of this can stem from comparing myself to other people. Now, we can sit up here and say all we want that we shouldn't compare ourselves. It's not healthy. And I try to avoid that, but naturally, sometimes it's something that we do with this ego. We have peers, we have friends, we have family, right? We have pride. And so we're trying to put ourselves up, like I said, against the wall and pin someone else next to it and compare and think, what do I have that they don't? What do they have that I don't? I'm really trying to stay away from social media. Another habit that I've implemented of late is waking up and not even checking my phone. Today, the only time I've checked my phone is to turn music on to drive here and to turn the Google Maps on to find directions here. It's been a little bit unhealthy. This year, I will wake up and I'll check my phone and I'll go on Instagram and I'll go on, TikTok or YouTube or whatever. And that first action, that first move you have in a day sets the tone. It sets the tone for the entire day, which is why it's so important early in the day to get something done, or at the very least, do something that is healthy. It doesn't have to be physically productive. It can be sitting and reading a book. It can be listening to a podcast while you clean the dishes, right? Or take the trash out, or whatever it is. But something that is productive in some case or way or form and is healthy. I think regulating my emotions is, here's a nice view over here too of the trees. It looks a lot better in person, I promise you that. But being in the redwoods and the beach, I want to kind of take it in for a moment before I continue what I was going to say. It's a beautiful place that I'm living, and I don't have any friends up here. I have my girlfriend, of course. She has some friends that she's met from her time up here, which is fantastic, and it's going to be unfortunate for her to say goodbye to them, but I still appreciate where we are. This last year has been one of the most influential, no matter of fact, it has been the most influential year of my life, the time that's experienced the most change. And that's not something that you can simply replace or overlook. Suddenly in 2024, I met my girlfriend, and then all this growth and all this change started happening. And it felt like that's when life really took off. That's when it really started. And so I've been being tested in these past couple of years of this little thing happening and this major thing happening, and all over my life of me trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And it's made me question deeper parts of myself. Am I enough? Am I doing enough? The truth is, man, I am a man. I'm here for a reason. This pressure that I'm facing, these challenges that are in front of me are here for a reason. Pressure is earned. I've always had that sentiment in my life, is that pressure is earned. Whenever there's something major that you're having to face or go through, there's a reason you're facing it. And I know that might sound kind of like a vague way of looking at it because I don't know the exact reason for what you're going through right now. But why am I being put to the test? Well, because I'm trying to grow up, because I'm trying to learn, because I'm trying to evolve in my journey as a human being and try and be the best version of myself. And I think that's where I come to the realization that the only comparison that needs to happen is to who I was today. Would this version of me, or would myself from last year be proud of where I am today, and 2 years ago, and 3 years ago, and so on? And I think the answer to that question is yes. But even if it were like, I wish this would have happened or that would have happened, I'm here, and I'm supposed to be here, and I'm proud of that. I'm ready for this change. I'm ready to move back to where a lot of friends and family are. But at the same time, I'm grateful for this opportunity to live out here by the coast, in the redwoods, in a place that I've called home for the past year of my life, and I found myself up here. That's such a beautiful thing to say. In the first half of the time that we spent here, which was the back half of 2024, I didn't have a job. I was searching for one for a long time, but the job market up here isn't the best. And so I still made a routine. Every day I had a to-do list. I wanted to work out. I wanted to write. I wanted to record a video. I wanted to get some chores done around the house. I wanted to spend some time with my girlfriend. I wanted to do this, that, right? And then the second half of the time we were here, I had my job. I worked as a door-to-door salesman, full-time, my first full-time experience. A lot of social obstacles that I had to overcome. You know, it was only a short amount of time. It was temporary, right? It was very temporary of me working there. But I learned a lot, and I experienced a lot, and I got really good at it. And it was, I wouldn't say I loved it by any means. You can check my recent videos and see how I was kind of feeling about it. But it was still a major step in my journey. And now we're moving back, and I'm trying to figure out still kind of what I'm doing with my career. And that's been stressing me out a lot. It's like, hey man, am I gonna be able to find a suitable career? Am I gonna be able to provide for a family? There's this little, like, I don't want to call it a cave, but a mini spot down in there. I figured I'd check it out. But all of a sudden, this quarter life crisis of, on 5 years, I'm gonna be 30. Like, oh no, I'm getting old. I'm hitting ung status, bro. Like, this is getting bad. But not really, you know, because I'm here right now, and I just have to keep that mindset. Like, I know that I have the tools and the resources necessary to take those next steps in my life. And I'm gonna get there. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with my career, man. I'm gonna be totally honest. You know, I would really like to do something creative, something where I could have a level of my own creation and have something that will leave me feeling fulfilled. And that's what matters to me more than anything. Obviously, I wanna be able to provide for a family, but I don't wanna sacrifice my own daily passion and like I said, feeling of fulfillment. I wanna do something that brings me a level of joy and satisfaction on a daily basis. That's what matters to me. I'm probably gonna read out here and like actually try and meditate and just sit with my thoughts and sit with myself. You know, people don't really think to go to the beach by themselves or go to the movie theater by themselves or go out to get a bite to eat and sit down at a restaurant by themselves or go on a hike alone, right? These are things you commonly do socially. And I prefer to do them socially, personally. But at the same time, you can do things like this alone and get something out of it, right? Spending time with yourself. It's building a relationship with yourself. And that's so key. That's so vital. Just mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, I've had a lot that I've kind of wanted to document and express. And this channel has been a place for me to do that. But also just getting out of the house, I think, was key today. I only have a couple weeks left up here where I'm living before we move, and why not embrace it? Why not appreciate it? Because I'll probably never really come back here again. I mean, this may be the last time I'm ever at this beach. So I'll probably end it on that note, but I hope you guys enjoyed and took something from this video. I really appreciate anybody who tuned in. And yeah, you know, I want to kind of hear your guys' thoughts about where you're at in life too. That's something that's so important to share, you know, especially in this day and age, and we have the access to do so through online, through social media, to connect in that regard. And yeah, I want to open the door to anybody in the comments to express themselves, and anybody who did make it this far. So thank you as always for tuning in. Will from Shadow Ascent, signing out.
How can I escape this enigmatic place where I've been feeling evasive? Cannot seem to embrace it. My own home is abrasive, anxiety tenacious. Yeah, my lust, it was laced in something I couldn't chase.